Danny Boy. Let me tell you something, man. Shout out to Danny Boy. He's filling in for Azariah Malone Cartagena. I was there, okay? And I know due to the show, I've been telling y'all some stories. We call it Joper moments. Stories that was never heard or told before. And sometimes it's questionable. Sometimes you could say, damn, man, is he lying? But I'm not, and I never am, right? So when they recorded those vocals, I was in Madison Square Garden. Big Daddy Kane was performing. I had Flojo. It's the only song I had out, and it was #1 in the country. Here comes Tupac and Biggie from out the back, the tunnel, Madison Square Garden. The crowd's going crazy because this is when Juice is on fire. And so everybody's looking. He stops and he goes, yo, Crack, come on. So I go with him. I go with Tupac and Biggie and go on stage. And y'all know the rest of the story. I told you this a million times. They got to rock. They did it. When they passed me the mic, Big Daddy King said he ain't have enough time. All right, cool. I was there, though. Like, I was there. Big Daddy King confirmed. I mean, the 40,000 people that was there, I was there. And so I say shit, but sometimes it sounds unrealistic because to you who watching, you might have never met Biggie. You might have never met Pac. And so I was there, right? And Biggie, they dropped a documentary today that I'm so happy. It was so necessary. When you thought you knew everything about B.I.G., we finally got to understand where he got the musical influence from. We're going to allude to that. So Biggie Smalls, Brooklyn, New York. I knew Biggie Smalls since he first started. I met him at the Lyricist Lounge. He battled about 20 different rappers and killed them all. At the time, Flojo was already ringing off. I'm in the crowd. I meet him. And Puff Daddy was there with him. And so I told Biggie, yo, Biggie, I want to hire you because I was rapping and throwing parties, promoting parties up at the Fever with Sal Abatello. And so I gave Biggie his first real show that he made $1,000 in a bottle of Moet. So he came, he ripped it down, and I'm telling everybody they didn't know Biggie yet. And I'm like, yo, he's going to be the biggest in the game. Shout out DJ Surge. He DJ'd that night too. Yo, these niggas, they pop out as soon as the story comes where they're near it. They yo, Surge, you was there DJing that night. And so we got the flyer, I could post it. And so we had such a relationship. So I used to go to Biggie's house in Brooklyn. And I'm going to just keep it a buck. He lived in the building. We go in his house. We sit down. We talk shit for hours. Next thing I knew, Biggie was #1, 2, and 3 on Billboard. It was simple as that. It was overnight his success. It was overnight he became the biggest guy in the game. Shout out to DJ Scratch. What's up, baby? And so I remember one night I was in Biggie's house and he was with me. He had a hockey jersey on. I had, like, I guess Flojo time, I had a Green Army fatigue, discus shirt, and probably some chuckers, some Timberland chuckers. When we in the street, we hard, we talking hip hop, we this and that. So he invited me to a party. When I went that night, he had a salmon suit on with salmon gaiters with a hat. And I was like, holy shit. This guy's a fucking superstar. He's a fucking superstar. And I couldn't believe it. He was up there. There's famous pictures that night that Ed Love is in. I think Rob Love. Just an amazing picture, right, of that night. And that's when I knew he was big. He went away on tour. We kept in touch. We talked almost every day on the phone. And I remember I pulled up. I tell you this story before, but I'm just painting the picture for you. Joey got a story to tell, believe that. So I remember going to a vibe party in Manhattan. Not party, party. As I pull up, there's about 500 people around a SUV. As I'm walking closer, is Biggie Smalls. He's standing on the shit, on the car, standing up there. He had Little Kim with him. And of course, they the biggest thing in the whole world, let alone New York City. It's King of New York. So I see him from far. This is the gem. I told you the story before, but listen to the gem. I'm not up here wasting my time. I'm teaching you shit. And so I said, nah. I didn't go up to him because I said, nah. He probably changed. And so I was guilty, like all the people that you heard of who says somebody changed, somebody this. Sometimes it's your perception of the person. They might have never changed, but in your mind, because they're successful, you say to yourself, oh, they changed this and that. G-Spin, what's good? And so the minute I went to turn, I hear a voice, yo, crack, yo, crack. I turn around, it's b.i.g. Yo, crack, come here, man, yo. So I go over there, yo, what's up, my brother, this? And the man, I had just dropped my album maybe a week before my second album. So he grabs Little Kim, he embarrassed her, Little C's. He said, tell him, what we've been listening to all day. And they were like, your album. Yo, you step your stills up. And he just made me feel, I don't know if it's a big boy thing. Because Fred the Godson would do the same thing. Rest in peace. I don't know if it's a big boy thing, but he made me feel so special that day. And the lesson I learned is to not judge people and say they've changed or think they've changed till you really build with them and see if they changed. So now I wake up this morning, my phone's going off crazy. It's my daughter, it's Dre, it's everybody. Yo, the Biggie thing came out, the Biggie thing came out, the Biggie thing came out. Thank God I had a little hour or two. I sit on the couch, I press play on Netflix. It was so refreshing. They was ahead of their time. Shout out to my brother D-Rock, who knew to capture the moment. I don't have that. If Fat Joe dies, just like Big Pun died, rest in peace, we didn't have nobody filming us. We don't have that footage. I don't have it. I don't know how D-Rock thought about it and filmed so many amazing moments. Biggie freestyling at 14, 13, when he first went to the studio. He had a jazz musician that lived on his block who was a big time guy. And he was trying to teach Biggie jazz, but Biggie was telling him, I want to rap. So he taught him these drum patterns, how to flow. You know, every time you see, when Rick Ross came on here, not comparing the two, but Rick Ross said his mother only had one record, and it was Centipede. Centipede. So he said if you listen to Centipede, you would know that every time he raps, he's rapping to that Centipede beat. That's how he learned how to rap and get his cadence. That's his style. Well, Biggie, a jazz musician, I wish I knew his name. He taught Biggie this drum pattern, and Biggie learned to rap to that. And so they said if you take any one of Biggie's songs and you throw it to that drum pattern, that's how Biggie learned to rap. With most families in the hood, mine's too. Biggie came from a good family, from a great mother. She worked. She had no clue that this guy was ambitious, that he was hustling. Same thing with my mother. She didn't know I was in the streets, getting in trouble, doing all type of shit. One day, she found crack cocaine in his room on a plate. And when he came through the door, she screamed on him because he forgot. He was like letting it dry up. She screamed on him and was telling him, why did you leave those mashed potatoes on a plate? It smelled nasty. She threw it out. And so these are real shits. There's kids out there right now in trouble, around the wrong crew, ambitious, that their parents don't know what's going on right now. All they know is that they're working hard. And so who killed Biggie? Why they killed Biggie? If Biggie was so loved, why would they kill Biggie? If Biggie had no beef and he started with nobody, why did he die? It's a question I've asked myself over and over and over and over and over again. Years and years and years. And it's crazy because this was a guy I've had conversations with while he was alive. And he never wanted the beef. He never asked for the beef. And so that really hurts. Because every death hurts. But if you know you got a boy that's wild for the night, and you know that guy killed, you know that guy's crazy, sooner or later he's bound to get killed. And if he gets killed, we could cry for him, but we do know he was in a lot of shit. But when you talk about a guy who changed his life, who wanted to take care of his family, his mother, who made it. He made it. And to be so loved and get killed, right? It just gets to me every time. It's a must-see movie. The Biggie story, I got a story to tell. Shout out to my brother Buck Wow, who produced the original story to tell. UFO Thief. And so we all been in situations where we almost died because of hip-hop. I've been in my share of barely getting out alive. I was in Chicago one time. I don't know what the fuck happened. It's a bunch of artists, but the place just went crazy. Right when I was about to perform. Riots, this. I watched them. I don't want to say it in a bad way. If the word is a small person. A very small person. Right? Was in a wheelchair. And the shit got so crazy, he pulled out the Mac on stage. Like, it was just like, you really thought you wasn't getting out alive. And it's when Lean Back was number one, and I hadn't got to do it. And so my DJ, LV, shout out to LV and Sean C, he took the shit off so quick, the wires off, and was running with his equipment like, I mean, the shit was crazy. Okay? When you got the midget pulling out the Mac on a wheelchair, this shit nuts. They was pushing me. Chicago was like, go, go, like, right? But why I say that day I could have died? Because my pride wouldn't let me just leave like a sucker. I had to stay there. I told LV, put the fucking music on and let's go. I will lean back. And so they all fighting. Oh, yes, man, 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 man. And I walk on stage. I don't give a fuck about your folks, so mishap. And everybody forgot they were fighting and started partying. That's just one. I got about 1,000 you won't believe. It's just one. And so this game will test you. Was Biggie out there too long? I think so. Just because of the vibes. He had nothing to do with the Tupac thing, but still. Still animosity. There's some people that might have been jealous, whatever. Was he out there too long? I think so. We can't change it. We can't do nothing about it. But when you was from New York or anywhere, and you heard Notorious B.I.G. got gunned down, and shout out to Steve Lobel, he was the first person who called me. I still lived in the Bronx, Droznik. And the second you heard, the first thing you thought was like, why was he out there? Right? Like, why was he in L.A.? And so these are growing pains. These are things that really happen in life that we can't change. Long live B.I.G. The real king of New York. I can't get enough of him. And the last thing I ever saw, because I'm in New York, baby girl's in Miami. The last thing I saw with my daughter was that New Edition story that BET did. And so with the Biggie, she kept stopping. Dad, he was #1. He was only getting 10,000 a show. I was like, Mom, I had the #1. I said I had the #1 song in the country and I was getting $500 a show. The money was different. Years ago, Magic Johnson was the first guy with $1 million check a year. Now you got bums getting $149 million. We're not mad at them. He paved the way and still found a way to be successful. But guys like us, Biggie was the #1 guy in the world. He was getting 10,000 a show and happy. He said, man, I do 4 of them a week. 40,000. 40,000, 80,000, 160. That wasn't bad for a guy who used to have to sell cracks on Fulton Street. And so when you know that you've been risking your life every day, that your friends got murdered, that your friends is gunned down, and you see all this shit, and then you want to do something for your mother. And so when you rapping and you making that money, it's a blessing. And that's why when I see these young boys and I try to give them advice, I say, yo, bro, this ain't it. When you see me and 50 Cent squash that beef, that was going nowhere. That wasn't going nowhere good. because I know what I'm capable of, and I'm sure he's capable of whatever. That wasn't going nowhere nice. But unfortunately, we learned that fact from Biggie and Tupac. And everybody says, every broke motherfucker you know says, yo, bro, if I had the bag, I would look out. Yo, if I have it, I'm hooking everybody up. Yo, here's a guy, he hooked everybody up. Crazy. And so Biggie, he showed his origins in Jamaica. His uncle inspired him. You know, his uncle do the chanting and all that. So they went to, we didn't know Biggie was going back to Jamaica every summer. Jumping in the water, chilling. We didn't know he worked with the jazz guy. And so amazing. It's a must see thing.